All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're going to fundamentally shift how you look at the pasta aisle. We're taking those rustic Italian staples you know and love and revealing them for what they really are: absolute masterclasses of culinary engineering.
Have you ever actually wondered why there are just so many pasta shapes? You might think choosing between penne, bow tie, or spaghetti for dinner is just a matter of preference. Maybe you just like the way one looks on the plate. But what if I told you it's not random at all? It's actually a really rigid science.
Here's the wild part. Pasta shapes are deliberate, fluid, dynamic solutions. Yeah, we're talking about the exact science of how fluids behave when they're in motion. In culinary terms, we are literally solving for sauce viscosity. So if you're putting a heavy, dense meat sauce on super fragile angel hair pasta, you aren't just making a minor mistake in the kitchen. You are actively fighting 500 years of culinary physics. Think of every cut of pasta as a tiny, edible piece of engineering designed to capture, emulsify, or support specific sauces. Take macaroni elbows, right? They act as these tiny little structural tubes built specifically to capture thick, chunky sauces. Then you have fettuccine. Those wide ribbons are designed to maximize surface area for rich, fat-based emulsifications. And tagliatelle? It's built flat and wide for one reason: to act as a physical foundation for high-density meat. Every single shape is engineered so that not a single drop of sauce goes to waste.
Section 1. American Shortcuts and Innovations. From White House dinners to Depression survival.
Let's start with the ultimate comfort food in the United States, and maybe shatter a few major myths about its origins along the way. Tracing the timeline of macaroni is absolutely fascinating. A lot of people just assume Italians gave America its mac and cheese obsession, but look all the way back to 1802. Thomas Jefferson and an enslaved cook named James Hemings actually utilized French techniques to introduce the dish at a White House dinner. That exact moment laid the groundwork for what would eventually become a massive pantry revolution. 8 million. That is a staggering number. Remember that highly functional elbow shape we just talked about? The one perfectly designed to capture fixed sauce? Well, it turns out it was also perfectly engineered for mass logistics. That shape allowed Kraft to sell a mind-blowing 8 million boxes of their processed version in 1937 alone. They took a dish once served to presidents and turned it into a critical Depression-era survival staple. Now, moving from the pantry over to fine dining, we see a really stark contrast. Take Alfredo Di Lelio's original 1914 Roman invention. It relied entirely on wide pasta to create a pure, highly technical emulsification using just butter and Parmesan. Now compare that to the American fettuccine Alfredo from the 1920s. American tourists brought the recipe home, but instead of taking the time to master that difficult emulsification technique, restaurants just started adding heavy cream. It was a cheap, super easy shortcut. And because of that deep history, if you go to Italy today and order Alfredo with cream, you are essentially committing a culinary offense. Seriously, try ordering the cream version in Rome, and you should absolutely expect an unprompted, very passionate educational conversation from your waiter. They do not take this lightly.
Which brings us to Section 2. Recipes protected by law. The strict discipline of Italian technique.
When you think of a standard meat sauce, you probably imagine something heavily loaded with garlic and Italian herbs, right? Well, the 1982 official Bolognese mandate flips that entirely on its head. This recipe is officially registered with the Bologna Chamber of Commerce specifically to stop the rest of the world from getting it wrong. For instance, it absolutely forbids the use of garlic. No garlic at all. It also specifically mandates the addition of milk and requires a minimum 2-hour slow burn cooking process. Now, you might be thinking, milk. Why milk? Well, it's not just in there for flavor. It acts as a crucial chemical tenderizer for the beef during that mandatory 2-hour slow burn. Plus, it chemically rounds out the harsh acidity of the tomato paste. It's a highly calculated chemical reaction.
And because that rigorous 2-hour chemical process creates such an incredibly high-density, heavy flavor profile, you legally have to pair it with a wide, flat pasta like tagliatelle. You quite literally need its physical architecture to support the sheer weight of the meat sauce on the fork. Once again, it all comes back to physics.
We see that exact same strict regional identity with pesto genovese. It originates from Genoa's unique coastal climate, which produces a very specific, highly aromatic regional basil. It requires exactly 7 specific ingredients. No more, no less. And the craziest part? It is legally protected by the European Union, actively guarding it against global imitations.
Moving on to Section 3. Engineering the cheese pull. Visuals, marketing, and modern appetites. So how exactly do these super strict, regional, and legally protected dishes turn into the massive viral sensations we consume today? 2 words: modern marketing. Take pesto, for example. It went from a fiercely guarded regional secret to a massive global commodity in the 2010s, simply because of its visual stoppability. That bright, vibrant green hue just completely dominated social media feeds. It photographed better than almost any other sauce, and that visual appeal alone drove a global surge in demand. And then, of course, we have to talk about the cheese pull. You know, that whole era of baked ziti and lasagna. Much like those famous mozzarella stick commercials from the 1980s, restaurants realized something really profound about human biology. We are hardwired to respond to the sight of melting dairy. Stretching cheese became the ultimate visual marketing tool. We see it and our brains just instantly crave it. All of this drastically shifted our entire culinary landscape. We basically traded the high-level technical barriers of authentic Italian emulsification for loaded comfort foods that deliver maximum caloric satisfaction with absolute zero effort. That trade-off has fundamentally defined modern American sports culture and casual dining as we know it. It is honestly incredible how many of our staple foods follow this exact same pattern of logistics meeting marketing, from the ancient 4,000-year history of cheesecake to the completely accidental invention of cream cheese in New York, right down to the mass production of the macaroni elbow shape for survival rations. Our favorite foods are almost always the result of logistics problems intersecting with just brilliant marketing maneuvers.
Ultimately, pasta is the perfect example of this entire phenomenon. Think about it. A simple mix of flour and water, engineered into 100 different shapes to ensure not a single drop of sauce goes to waste. It's not just dough, it is an ingenious engineering matrix designed to perfectly manage the physics of your dinner. So, I've got to know, where do you stand? Are you a strict purist following that 1982 Bolognese mandate to the letter? Or are you proudly on Team Cream when it comes to your Alfredo? Let me know in the comments where you fall on the great sauce debate. And remember, the next time you're standing in the pasta aisle, you aren't just picking out a pretty shape. You are actively solving a physics problem. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.